What if I told you that for over a century, presidents elected in years ending in zero carried a hidden shadow, a streak of sudden death and tragedy that defied logic? From William Henry Harrison in 1840 to John F. Kennedy in 1960, a chilling pattern emerged where leaders fell not once, not twice, but again and again, in perfect rhythm with the turning of the decades. Some died from assassins' bullets, others from mysterious illnesses, and each time the nation reeled in shock. But in the background, whispers grew louder. Was this simply the danger of the presidency, or the fulfillment of a Native American curse spoken long ago? The story begins with a battle on the frontier, a clash of cultures, and a vow said to echo across generations. If the curse is real, then it is more than just a tale of presidential misfortune. It's a story of resistance, betrayal, and the unfinished reckonings of America's past. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the Curse of Tippecanoe, tracing it from the Shawnee resistance of Tecumseh and Tenskwatawa, through the string of presidential deaths, all the way to modern times when the pattern seemed to break. Was it really a curse? Was it coincidence? Or is there something larger at play, some hidden thread connecting these tragedies together? Stay with me, because this is one of the strangest, most haunting patterns in American history. To understand the supposed curse, we have to return to the early 1800s, a time when the United States was still young but already expanding aggressively westward. Native nations found their lands shrinking as treaties were forced upon them, often signed by only a few leaders while others resisted. Into this turbulent era stepped Tecumseh, a Shawnee chief who envisioned something remarkable: a united confederacy of tribes stretching across the Midwest, bound together in defense of their homelands. Tecumseh was no ordinary leader. He was a skilled orator and strategist, able to rally tribes with a vision that no one else had articulated before. His belief was simple, but revolutionary. No land should be ceded to the United States without the approval of all tribes together. For the land was not owned by individuals, but shared by all. While Tecumseh traveled to spread his message, his younger brother, Tenskwatawa, known as the Prophet, remained at Prophetstown, their community near present-day Indiana. Tenskwatawa claimed spiritual visions, warning that native peoples had to reject alcohol, European goods, and the creeping influence of settlers. Together, the brothers embodied both political and spiritual resistance. In 1811, with Tecumseh away seeking allies, William Henry Harrison, governor of the Indiana Territory, marched on Prophetstown with over 1,000 troops. The resulting clash, the Battle of Tippecanoe, was brutal. Harrison's men burned the town and scattered Tenskwatawa's followers, striking a devastating blow to Tecumseh's dream. Out of this defeat grew the legend that Tenskwatawa, humiliated and enraged, declared a curse upon Harrison and upon the office he would later hold, damning future presidents elected in 0 years to die in office. Whether those words were truly spoken or not, the legend attached itself to the story of Tippecanoe and grew stronger with each repetition. It was less about exact quotes and more about meaning, a belief that the betrayal of Tecumseh and the destruction of Prophetstown would echo back against the very heart of American power. Fast forward to 1840. William Henry Harrison, the same man who had led the assault at Tippecanoe decades earlier, was running for president. His campaign slogan, "Tippecanoe and Tyler too," celebrated his role in that battle, turning his victory over Tecumseh's people into a rallying cry for American voters. But once Harrison took office, fate struck quickly. He delivered the longest inaugural address in history on a cold, rainy day, refusing to wear a coat or hat, as if to prove his toughness. A month later, he was dead. The official cause was pneumonia, though modern historians debate whether it was really contaminated drinking water from the White House that did him in. Whatever the cause, Harrison's death, after just 31 days in office, was shocking. He became the first president ever to die in office, and the curse's first supposed victim. For Native Americans who had not forgotten Tecumseh or Tenskwatawa, the irony was heavy. The general who destroyed Prophetstown, who had built his political career on that victory, had fallen almost immediately upon reaching the highest office in the land. Many dismissed it as a tragic coincidence, but others began to whisper, maybe the prophet's words were coming true. Maybe the presidency itself was under a shadow. 2 decades later, the cycle seemed to repeat, this time on a scale that shook the nation. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected president. His election split the country, and he led America through the Civil War, preserving the Union but paying the ultimate price in 1865, when John Wilkes Booth shot him at Ford's Theater. Lincoln's assassination was one of the greatest traumas in American history, and for those who remembered Harrison's fate, it looked like the curse was alive. In 1880, James Garfield was elected. Just 4 months into his presidency, he was shot by Charles Guiteau, a man angry at being denied a political appointment. Garfield lingered in pain for months, his doctors probing his wound with unsterilized hands and instruments until infection killed him. 20 years later, in 1900, William McKinley was elected, and in 1901, while shaking hands at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, he was shot twice by anarchist Leon Czolgosz. McKinley initially seemed to recover, but infection set in, and he died 8 days later. And then came 1920. Warren G. Harding, elected in a landslide, was a popular figure, but his time in office was marred by scandal. In 1923, while on a speaking tour, Harding suddenly fell ill and died, likely of a heart attack. With Harding, the pattern was undeniable. That made 4 presidents in a row, each elected in years ending in 0, each dying before they could complete their terms. Coincidence? Some still thought so. But more and more, people began to connect the dots, whispering about the curse of Tippecanoe. By the 1940s, the curse had become part of American folklore, and when Franklin Delano Roosevelt sought a 3rd term in 1940, some wondered aloud if he too would fall victim. Roosevelt was already in fragile health. Polio had left him in a wheelchair, and years of stress were wearing him down. But he pressed on, guiding the country through the Second World War. In April 1945, just months into his 4th term, Roosevelt collapsed from a cerebral hemorrhage and died. For believers in the curse, it was proof that the pattern continued. Then came 1960. John F. Kennedy swept into office with youthful energy and charisma, promising a new frontier for America. Yet the shadows of the curse hung over him. On November 22, 1963, Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, shot as his motorcade passed through cheering crowds. His death stunned the nation and the world, and for many, it sealed the legend. From Harrison in 1840 to Kennedy in 1960, 7 presidents elected in 0 years had died in office. The curse had achieved an almost perfect record, stretching across more than a century, and it terrified those who wondered if it would ever end. Then came 1980. Ronald Reagan won the presidency, And immediately people whispered, would he be next? The fear seemed justified when, in 1981, just months into his first term, Reagan was shot outside a Washington hotel. The bullet came within an inch of his heart. For a moment it seemed like the curse was about to claim another victim. But Reagan survived. Modern medicine, quick response, and sheer luck kept him alive, and he went on to serve 2 full terms. For many, Reagan's survival was the moment the curse was broken. But was it? Some argued the prophecy had merely weakened, not ended. Then came 2000, when George W. Bush was elected. Once again, the old whispers returned. Bush served through 9/11, wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and years of political turmoil. But he too left office alive. This left scholars, skeptics, and believers debating what the curse truly was. Was it a literal prophecy spoken by Tenskwatawa, his words carried across generations? Was it a coincidence amplified by the dangers of 19th century medicine and politics? Or was it symbolic, a kind of cultural memory of Tecumseh's struggle that reappeared as a story told again and again every time tragedy struck? Some even suggest the curse was less about supernatural vengeance and more about the weight of history, a way for Americans, consciously or not, to recognize that the nation's foundation was built on conquest and broken promises. The curse may not have been about presidents at all, but about America itself. So what do we make of the Curse of Tippecanoe? From the burning of Prophetstown to the assassination of Kennedy, the story blends history, legend, and mystery into a pattern that still captures our imagination. Maybe it was all coincidence, the natural outcome of a dangerous job in a violent age. Maybe it was prophecy, the words of Tenskwatawa echoing through time to remind America of its betrayals. Or maybe it was something in between, myth and memory woven together to give meaning to tragedy. Whether you believe the curse was real or not, its legacy lingers. It keeps alive the story of Tecumseh, Tenskwatawa, and the native resistance that fought so fiercely against American expansion. It forces us to look at the strange patterns of history and ask if there are forces we still don't fully understand. And it raises the question, if a curse can be broken, what breaks it? Modern medicine, better security, or perhaps a shift in the balance of history itself? In the end, the Curse of Tippecanoe is more than just a list of presidential deaths. It's a reminder of how stories, legends, and history collide to shape the way we see our past. What do you think? Was this truly a curse, a chilling coincidence, or something else entirely? Comment your thoughts and suggestions for my next video below.